Oh, yo, what? Oh, I'm here. I'm having some audio issues with my system. The sound just ain't working for some reason. But we inside, we locked, and for anyone who's wondering, I'm not being joined by any co-host today. Yep, that is right. 4 hours of me just dribbling on. hold on. Why is this shit not working? What's wrong with this thing? It's just not playing any sound. It's just not playing any sound. You know what? The whole system might have to get restarted, But it's all right, man. In the interim, yeah, that is right. It is me, your boy, Drizz, Drizzy Francis, YM Lord, Smoke Lord, Poseidon, LS7 Steph, Elohim, whatever you want to call him. We here. And I'm riding solo. See, this would be so much easier if I had my buttons and shit, because, the sound kind of brings it to life a little bit. But it is my shit. I could just easily stop this recording and record it again. But we're not going to do that because that would be no fun. So we're going to keep it going. I'm restarting my system right now. But for anyone that's listening, this is the OnlyMans podcast, episode 83. Yes, 83. It took 83 episodes to destroy years of friendship. I would have hit the air horn so bad. Oh, I'm joking. To give everyone, I guess, an update just in regards to everything. I haven't heard from Will properly since the last time we did the pod. He's just not been reachable. I did speak to him on one occasion where he missed the last pod, and it was just like, yo, bro, come on, man, like. But without even getting into anything too detailed or too, thing like that, Will does have, or at least I, in my experience of knowing Will, has down time. And what I mean by that is a lot of time, not a lot of times, but you know what, let's do the intros first. Not the intros, but the follows and all that. So yeah, man, if you're listening on the Stereo app, hit the link above. If you're listening on, YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. I'm going to obviously get into kind of everything in a moment, but there's a high chance that after the new year, I'm not, the podcast isn't going to record on the Stereo app anymore. Been thinking about it for a while. When I was able to contact Will, we had spoke about it and stuff. And I think that although Stereo is great, it's really helped us to do something really cool. It's becoming, not even in that kind of way, but it's a bit clubhousey now, isn't it? Like, people use it in that similar sort of way. And I think kind of what it was originally for is like this kind of concept of an audio podcast. Like, the live element plays a lot more of a role in it, and because of that, it's a lot more geared to that. So even this I'm doing right now, I'm doing this on the Stereo app, but like, no one's going to engage with it because it's the whole algorithms and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, after long thought and deliberation, I think I have decided to move away from the Stereo app after the new year. So obviously, what we on now? What's the date? Hold on. The date is, drum roll please, but I don't have my soundboard. It's the 15th. So shit. There's this week. There's next week, which is Christmas week. There's the week after. So really, you looking at, after this episode, 2 more episodes on the Stereo app. You know what I mean? So So yeah, man, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. Make sure you blow that up and you big that up and stuff. I think it'll also help improve the audio quality of the podcast, moving away from the stereo app, because stereo is very heavily dependent on, like, it's the phone and it's a mobile device, it's an app ultimately. So, oh shit, like recording into the device with the app, I think kind of hinders the sound quality a bit sometimes. But yeah, man, these are just all things that I've been thinking about. So yeah, I think that'd be quite good, to be fair. I'm definitely going to try to move the pod forward. So I'll get back into what I was saying about Will. And I'm going to tell you this, yeah, as soon as I get the air horns and shit back, we're going to play bare sounds. But yeah, as I said, I've not been able to get in contact with Will now for maybe like a week, 10 days, give or take. Obviously, we were supposed to do the pod last week. Calling him days before, trying to get in contact with him, because usually what we'll do, because he works certain time scales, I work certain time scales and shit, and sometimes he's even doing like night shift or night work and stuff like that, or working like obscure hours and stuff. So we'll always kind of try to meet in the middle in it. It's like, all right, bro, if say I'm doing some work and I'm doing an early thing and you're doing work, you're doing a late thing, I'll holler you when I finish, or maybe a little bit after that, because you'll be like maybe getting up or getting ready around that time. So I'll try and meet you halfway. We don't have to have a long conversation. It's just like, yo, what you saying? You good? What you saying for the pod? What time do you want to record? Are you good for this time, this day? Just scheduling stuff, right? And again, sometimes that might be the only time in the pod, only time like in the week we'll speak properly. Because usually we'll say if we're going to get into like a conversation and that's like, yo, save it for the pod, in it, like save it. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, I think after last week, because again, I spoke to him before that and we'd agreed the day to do it. Like, yeah, this day works, I can do this. Like we had agreed on it, and essentially, man, like my guy left me high and dry. Now, let me not say that like woe is me or boo-hoo or anything like that, because not to sound fucked up, but like some real shit might have happened. You know what I mean? Like I haven't spoken to him. I haven't been able to speak to him. Do you get what I mean? And me and Will's relationship, because there's a lot of people who have that kind of thing with Will. Like there's a lot of people that are our brethren and shit that Will has kind of had like tensions or whatever with, but only because he's a very difficult person to get in contact with. You know what I mean? Again, not even to thing like that, but one of our brethrens is a bit off Will because of that. Because it's like, yo, we supposed to be people and that, bro. Like, I be hollering you and shit, and you don't make any effort to reciprocate communication. Do you get what I mean? Like, because the thing that I always say to Will, say if he goes dark and I can't reach him for, however long, the thing I'll always say to him is like, brother, listen, if I'm belling you and shit, bro, I'm not belling you so that we can paint each other's nails on the phone and braid each other's hair and tell each other fucking gossip about girls. And like, bro, I'm belling you to see if you're good. I'm belling you to make sure you're alright. I'm belling you to see if you can still do the pod. Like, it's like a check-in type of thing, innit? It's like, you're my guy, so we ain't got to stay on the phone long. Even if I bell you and you can't talk shit, just text man, bro. Just be like, yo, I'm working on this or that or whatever. Can't really hit you right now. I'll holler you. Son, do you get what I mean? I always say about the pod, because of the obscure hours and stuff that man can work. It's like, if there's ever a time you can't do the pod, bro, just let me know. Do you get what I mean? Like, just let me know so I can be prepared. And it's like, yeah, bro, obviously, and again, we agreed on the day to do it. And I don't want to make it one of those things where I'm trying to like come at man, or I'm thinking, because it's not that. Do you get what I mean? Like I said, some real shit might have happened and I haven't spoken to him to know or not. It's just, one, obviously we want to make sure that our guy Will is good. You know what I mean? Cover him in love and, his peoples and all that in love. And, God willing, knock on wood or fucking whatever, like, he's all good. I think it opens up a conversation maybe about accountability and responsibilities, you know. A lot of the people that I call my friends are friends that I made after I moved away from Leeds. So, like, this is 2012 time, so kind of 2012 onwards. For anyone who doesn't know the backstory, I've told it on pods before, but very quickly. Grew up in Leeds, which is a place in the northern part of the UK. For anyone who doesn't live in the UK, obviously you've got London, and that's like south, and then you've got Manchester. Well, you've got Birmingham or Birmingham or whatever you lot call it, but Birmingham, Brum. That's the Midlands. You got Manchester, which is a bit further up north, and then you've got Leeds, which is a city further up north from there. It's up north from Liverpool as well, but not as north as Newcastle and shit. But yeah, born, raised in Leeds, born in the ends. But my mum, like, there was a church that my mum got me into when I was young because she wanted me to be in the church as opposed to like on the ends and shit. So come up in that, and like a lot of my G's, I like my friends, I met them there. Do you get what I mean? I met them in church. We was like kids and shit, and because they were my brethrens and that, it's like they were my brethrens. So we kind of grew up into teenagers, like growing into young men shit together. There was a girl, met the girl, loved the girl loves me. Things didn't work out. I was heartbroken. My friends then started turning against me because we're all kind of in like the same social groups and shit. I wanted to get away from everything. Moved away to Wolves for university. Came to Wolves, met these incredible people. Met Will by accident. It's another story I've told on the pod, but literally, it was like student accommodations. Shout out to Victoria Hall. I don't know what that shit is called now, but student accommodations, or accommodation, I guess. It's not plural. But yeah, man, was in the B2K. That was the ground floor flat. And it was me and 4 other niggas, I want to say. 3 other niggas. So it was me, Taps, Big Sam, and a brother from South London called Eugene. And shout out to Eugene, he was cool as well, fam. But like he was so dolo, like he didn't fuck with none of our shit. But the guy Big Sam, like me and him never met him from a can of paint. Like we just moved into this accommodation. He was one of the guys that they put me with in it. But obviously we all like young niggas and shit, so we all, you know what I mean, spud up, parlay up, you know what I mean? Oh, cool, did it? Oh, what? Like, you ain't got no people down there. Say nothing, bro. That's what I told him, innit? And this was before I even realised that I've got like so much family in Wolverhampton. But this was before I even like linked up with them. So when I'm meeting these men, and I'm just telling them like, yeah, you know what I mean, from Leeds and that, like, I don't really know anyone down there. I just, you know, I moved, you know what I mean? So I was saying nothing, bro, like, roll with man, innit? So cool, started moving with them now. And Will was Sam's brethren. You get me? So I don't know Will from a can of paint. I've obviously just met Sam and shit. One of the days, wake up early, and it's like a communal kitchen and shit, and it go in there to get some food and that student living. And there's just this nigga in there with the big studio headphones on and like a laptop in it. But this is like early in the, you know what, it might not have been early, it might just been early to us, because obviously student shit, you go out late at night and you come back and sleep in the day on some vampire shit. Everyone trying to be Playboy Carti before Playboy Carti, you get me? Hold on, because we might have the soundboard back. Nah, bro, it's still not working. Oh shit! Oh shit, we got the soundboard back. I did say I was gonna go back and do the intros, but I'm too far into this shit now, innit? I'm too far. Oh shit. Yeah. But nah, nigga sat in the kitchen, studio headphones on a laptop. Like some skinny dude. He wasn't like no road you. He wasn't like no Enzy looking kind of you. And that's not to rub my guy out. Pause. Like, I'm not dubbing him. I'm just saying. And black youths from the UK, but all over the world. But black men, black guys will get this in it, and other guys too. But you know what I'm saying. But you see another nigga somewhere, yeah, and just by like how he dress, how his, you know what I mean, clothes fit, the trainers he got on, his hair, like, and the aura in it, like you can identify a hood nigga like quite immediately in it, and you can also identify someone who's not a hood nigga like quite immediately in it. So I come in and obviously this guy is like, he's not that in it. He's like cool, super cool guy. And my thing, I'm quite anti in it. Like, I don't really like talking to people. I don't have to talk to them. You know what I mean? But I'm kind of like just doing my thing, whatever, in the kitchen. And I'll be honest with you, I can't remember exactly how the interaction began. Because I don't know if I actually even spoke to him in that time. If it was like another time. But the long and short of it was like, he just kept popping up there because he was going to uni in Liverpool, innit? But he just kept popping up to like Wolves and that. And he would just be there doing music. Oh, let's go in. Yo, Sam, let's turn your room into a studio, like doing music and shit. And all these times, like, I used to write bars and shit, innit? So one of the times I was like, nah, fuck this, bro. Like, fuck this, nah. Yo, you do music for real, bro? He's like, yeah, fam, I do this, innit? I was like, oh shit, bro, come, let's press it, innit? And like, the rest was history, as they say. But like, a lot of the guys that I consider my friends now are guys I met through those times. You know what I mean? And because, not to sound dramatic, but because in a sense, like, I've been burnt before by friendship. Oh, because I've had like bad experiences with that before. I hold like friendship very dear in it. It's a very principled thing to me, and so I always try to go above and beyond to show the people that I love and appreciate them. You know what I mean? And obviously me, Will, and the white boy started this broadcast, started this pod, you know, thought it'd be a cool thing. A lot of shit's happened since then. A lot of things have changed since then. There were 3, now there's only 1. Oh, good. Hold on a second, hold on. But yeah, you know, it's just a thing of, if he's in a position to, I would really have liked man to just be like, yo, bro, like, I can't do the pod in it. And I'm going to keep prefacing it because Will may not be perfect, but he's a good-hearted guy. I'll say that he's not a bad person. I've had many different types of encounters with him. I've had many different types of encounters with him and other people. I've seen encounters he's had with other people. I've been with him in peak situations. I've been with him in good situations. Like, I've had many different experiences to experience the character of who he is. And I've never seen no bad mindness from man ever. You know what I mean? And so I again, like I said about friendships, the way that I see it is like, if I'm friends with somebody, they're a proper person. Like, I'm not friends with no fuckhead people. Do you get what I mean? So the way that I kind of view it is like, I'm always going to try and find a way to give the benefit of the doubt. Where it's like, you know what? Something mad might have happened. And that's why. Because your guy Will, he wouldn't duff you out like that. Do you get what I mean? That's not even the right phrase. Like, he wouldn't just dub you, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I do that, because it's a lot more maybe comforting. Maybe that's not the right word, but it's just a lot more like ease to the mind than to think like, rah, maybe a guy just dubbed you in it. And if a guy dubbed you, like, that's a truth you can accept. It's not like, oh, the end of the world. Like, niggas can dub you, it's cool, but it's just like, damn, I didn't think my guy would do me like that. You know, when you understand that everyone's living their own life, everyone's got their own things they're doing and stuff. So it is what it is, man. It just is what it is, you know. But still always love to Will. You know what I mean? In fact, round of applause for Will. You get me? Like, my guys, like, definitely helped me with a lot of this music sort of shit. You know what I mean? A lot of live shit. You know what I mean? Just a lot of real shit. It's my guy. So it's always big love to him. And who knows, man? Who knows where this shit's going to go from here? SMK Bigger, I see you listening on the Stereo app. Shout out to you. Respect for tuning in and that. You wouldn't have heard me earlier, but I was saying, you know, after the new year, it's no longer going to be on the Stereo app, man. So make sure you follow the YouTube page or subscribe to the YouTube page. You know what I mean? So you can get all the episodes in there. But we're going to move to the proper channels, you know what I mean? Where they like the Apple podcasting and the Spotify pods, even though it's fuck Spotify, you know what I mean? And all the real channels. We're going to move away from this and try and improve the quality a bit. Do you get what I mean? And SMK Bigger just jumped off the call. So clearly he don't give a fuck. But it's fine. But I wanted to just give the context as to why I'm doing the pod by myself. So the last pod may well very have been the last one that you hear of me and Will. You know, I'll say this, man. If it turns out that man dubbed it, I've kind of had this. But see, a part of me feels like this is unfair. So I'll ask you, knowing that you can't answer me, or at least I can't hear your answer, and then I'll try and answer it myself. I've had this thing in my head where it's like, all right, since the blackification of the pod, if anybody dubs the pod 3 times in a row, they out. The 3 strikes rule, in it. Like 3 strikes, you out. Where you've agreed to do the pod, we've set a time, we've set a date, we come to do it, and man just ain't about. If man do that 3 times, they out. But the problem is, I don't think I said that to Will. I can't remember if I did. But I've been keeping count. And this episode I'm doing now would be the 3rd strike. Where on 3 separate occasions, including this occasion, we've agreed to do a pod. A man's dubbed it out. But then to be fair, I didn't even agree to do this pod with him because we haven't spoken, because I've not been able to reach him. So again, does it count? You know what I mean? And I think I would have to try and get in contact with him to find the reason why, to then see if it counts. Because, hold on. The way the shit was set up, yeah, from the origin of the shit, from episode 1 when we said we are going to do this, yeah, the shit was set up. It's 3 people doing this, so we split everything 3 ways. Any decisions that are going to be made has to be a majority vote. There's 3 of us, so it'll always be 2 against 1, or it'll be 3 against nobody. You know what I mean? So where any decisions we're going to make about the pod, anything we're going to look to do to move forward, anything like that, you get split 3 ways, and that's how we're going to do it. Obviously, the whole shit happened with the white boy. He started bugging out. He decided he didn't want to do the pod anymore. Man said, cool, he's relinquished his share in it. So now there's 2 of us. We both have an equal equity split of the rights of this thing in it. So any decisions, we have to mutually agree on the shit. You know what I mean? And if we don't mutually agree, we have to find a place of mutual agreement. Like, I'm not just gonna do no shit like without you, and you're not just gonna do no shit without me. Like, we're gonna thing in it. So that's how I've always treated it. Now, if we get into the real, I have put in a lot more time, effort, and energy into this pod than any of the other hosts ever did. I created the socials, the YouTube page. I every week rendered down the episodes. I created the graphics. I create the videos. I upload them to the page. I do it. And that's not to say, oh, I do this and I do that, because I don't have a problem doing those things, because I'm trying to build something with my friends. That was the whole idea to me. I'm trying to build something with my friends. And when it's that, for me, it's always a love thing in it. So I'm always going to do as much as I can, because, yo, we all brethren and shit. We're building this shit, so let's do it. Like, I can do this and I can do that. And so I'm going to try and do shit. That was never reciprocated, neither by Will or the white boy. And again, that's not a diss. It's not a diss. Because I didn't need it to be reciprocated. Because, you know what? Especially after the blackification of the pod, is like, you know what? Like, just the fact that you come each week and you give this time, like, bro, we do like the 4-hour shits, fam. I'm looking at this shit, 27 minutes have gone by, bro. And this shit feels like I've been doing it for like 2 hours, bro. Do you get what I mean? So it's like the fact that even with the hectic work schedules and shit, every week my guy would come here and give like 3, 4, 5 solid hours of just convo and shit. Like, it's like, bro, even if that's what you do, I appreciate you doing that. And I used to say every week at the end of the pod, bro, like, thank you for making the time. I appreciate you making the time. You could have been doing anything. You know what I mean? And so I don't bring those things up to say, well, look at me, look at me. I bring it more up to say, like, that's who I am. If I fuck with you, I rock with you. If I love you and we build in something together, we inner something together, and we all say we believe in it, I mean it when I say it. So I'm going to do everything that I can do, even getting through all the headache of this shit. And, you know, bro, do you know, fam, to get this audio off the stereo app takes at least a day, if not 2 days, because of the length of the podcast. I think if it was short, it would be fine. But basically, the audio has to render on stereo's, like, server, I think it is. So say one of the last pod me and Will did, fucking, I couldn't download that audio right after the pod, and if you try, it just doesn't do anything. You have to leave it for like a day or two, and then you can download it, because I think it's just rendering the whole shit down. So there's like the day or two that I have to wait for that. I then get the audio. I have to put it on the fucking. I've got like a program that I use to put the audio to the video and shit. It's not really video, it's just like a graphic, because it would be great if someone said like, yo, you know, I always said let's try to introduce a visual component, but you know what I mean. Anyway, after that, rendering the whole thing down, because it's long, you know what I mean, pause. That shit take like an hour, 2 hours within itself. Then uploading it to the YouTube take like an bro, to be fair, that can take anything from an hour to like 5, 6. To get what I mean? So I always just set it for the next day and stuff, or whenever. But like, it's a lengthy process. And you look at the YouTube page, I mean, shit, there's like 14 subscribers, I think. And someone could look at that and be like, what's the fucking point? But it's like, nah, bro, there's like 14 people who fucking subscribe to the shit. And even just for them, like, let me do it. It's the same approach I take with my music. It's like, I don't get loads of plays and loads of this and loads of that. But you know what? For the fucking people who actually just rock for this shit. I want to do it for that, you know. And the concept of doing it for the love is cute. It's cute. Certainly don't help no bills get paid though. Let me tell you that. Let me fucking tell you that it does not help no bills get paid. And we talk about these rappers and these artists and stuff selling out and doing it for the bag. It's easy to judge them, like, I get it, but boy, I'm ready to sell out for a bag right now. I'm liable to sell out for a bag, fam. Because I've been doing this shit pure for years, fam. You know what I mean? Even when certain shit came, like, pause, when certain opportunities would come up, like, bro, I had one of my people, also who was in the UBR shit at the time, tell me, bro, you should change your name in it. Listen, like, people already think about Drizzy as Drake and stuff, so change your name and start making like radio friendly tracks and that. And I remember telling him, fuck up my face, nigga. This is real hip hop. This is real hip hop. We do the real shit. Like, all of that bravado stuff, yeah. And it's so easy to dismiss that in a moment. But what he was speaking to was like, yo, the longevity of this shit is somehow being commercially viable. In whatever way you can do that, you need to be commercially viable. You want people to be able to buy into your shit as easily as they can. You know what I mean? And what you realize with a lot of this stuff is that there's a lane for everything. There's a lane for everything. If you like super woke and there's a lane for that. If you the club and, you know what I mean, bitches shaking ass, and there's a lane for that. If you just some like skater guy or whatever, there's a lane for that. If even for the ladies and shit, like, it's the same thing. There's a lane for everything. But once you're in a lane, you have to commit to it. And I think that's the trickier part. You know what I mean? And so when people sell out for the bag, it's a commitment. You know what I mean? It's like a spiritual contract. It's like, you took this, so you have to do this. You know what I mean? And it's easy to, when we hear about these stories in the news, like, what? They only signed for 30 racks, or what? They only signed for 100,000. Like, it's easy to say all of that in hindsight, innit? It's easy to laugh and whatever. But to the average motherfucker, bro, someone come to you and say, yo, I'm going to give you £100,000 to make 7 albums for me in 7 years. To a lot of people, bro, like, just break it down as simple as that. You do music and shit, you know what I mean? You're doing your little thing, whatever, and someone come to you and you broke, fam. Like, you broke in it. Like, you just out here trying to get it. And someone said, yo, you're sick, fam. Listen, I got 100 bags for you, blood. 100 thou, bro. All pure, fam. No funny peas, like, all pure peas, fam. 100 thou for you, bro. And all I need to do is make me 7 albums in like 7 years. It's easy, right? Most niggas look at that as like, bro, listen, I recorded all this shit for free. 7 albums in 7 years, that's bare time, bro. For 7 albums, that's bare time, bro. And then you sign and you get your 100 thou, bro. Get your 100,000. And then you realize what come with that 100,000. Because again, most music labels, established music labels, of course, like, it's essentially like rackets in it. You know, the racketeering charge is essentially like rackets, in the sense of, I sign a rapper and I give him 100,000. His budget is actually probably 1 million, but I'm giving him that budget. So I give him 100,000 in cash. So there's agreement to say that this is what we've done. This is the money we've given you up front, and we retain the rest. So I've only spent 100,000, but there's 900,000 in the reserve for this artist. Now, every time this artist wanna hit the studio, we charge for that. That comes out the 900,000. Any photo shoots or videos, you charge for that. Any beats, charge for that. The mixing, the mastering, charge for that. Fucking image consultancy, charge for that. Marketing, charge for that. You know what I mean? If we get features from other artists, charge for that. What else do you charge for? Anything that the label do for you, they charge you for it. But the charge is coming out of the 900,000. But what happens now is that you owe that money. That's the stipulations of the contract. Because they're spending this money on you. So, in the simplest way possible, Timmy has a lemonade stand. And he sells a glass of lemonade for £1. He's doing his thing, you know what I mean? They get maybe like 10, 20, 30 pound a day. People just passing by like, oh shit, a pound, like, yeah, I have that, cool. Someone come to Timmy and say, yo, I really like what you got going on here. People are familiar with you. They've seen your shit. Like, I like this. What I want to do, yeah, is essentially I want to buy the rights to this lemonade stand, because that's what signing an artist is. The label is buying the rights and the licensing of the artist, which is why certain artists like to try and get around that, will like change their name. But anyway, I want to buy the rights to this lemonade stand. You get like what? Up to £30 a day? Cool. I want to give you £10,000. And I want you to just keep selling lemonade. Gives him £10,000. Like, no, that's just for you, bro. That's not even, bro. Listen, that's your piece, fam. Do whatever you want with that 10,000. We're gonna build a new lemonade stand. We're gonna get all this cool. We're gonna do all of that. You don't even worry about that. Like, you don't. That's not for you to do. This is 90,000 ready to be spent. But what's happening is this person is buying the money out of that 90,000 that really belongs to the lemonade guy. Because the contract he signed says, we're giving you this, bro. And they say, like, nah, that's the budget, innit? That's the budget. So the guy is like, bro, I'm 10,000 up, bro. I was making £30 a day. I'm 10,000 up. I'm lit, bro. You know what I mean? Buy a car, buy some new clothes, you know what I mean? Some bills out and shit, you know what I mean? Maybe help move house, like, whatever the fuck. But you see the new lemonade stand they're building, they're charging that against your contract. So if the new lemonade stand costs £2,000 to build, no, let's up it. £5,000 to build, because they fucking build you like a proper little shack. It's like proper integrated. It looks cool. It's like in the shape of a lemon. Motherfucking like they got the chairs in there and the cool music and the ambience and the proper desk, and it's all digital, the tiles, and people can download the app and all this sort of shit. Yeah, this is coming out of the 90,000, but it's been charged against you. So if that costs 5,000 to make, the guy who bought the lemonade stand, he pays for it. But now the guy selling the lemonade owes him 5,500 because he's actually being charged for this. And the way that he has to recoup is by selling lemonade. So when the guy come back after a little while, and you know what I mean, the guy's gone from getting £30 a day, now he's getting like £100 a day and shit. Like, no, he's getting like £200, £300 a day, fam. Like 10x this shit, fam. Do you get what I mean? He's like, oh, bro, we up, fam. And he's like, and then the guy comes to him and is like, yeah, cool. All right, say nothing. This is the bill. You look at the bill, bro, and it's £50,000. It's like, what do you mean the bill? I was like, well, I told you I own the rights to this, and you agreed to sell the lemonade. So I gave you all the stuff that you needed to sell lemonade, but this is the amount that you owe against your contract. And the guy's like, bro, like, I can't give you fucking, I can't give you 50 racks, bro. Like, I mean, shit, with the 10 racks that you give me, plus the money we've made of this, because what also happens is where he was selling it for fucking £1 before, now all the lemonades is £10. But the guy that bought the rights to the lemonade gets £8 out of every £10. So really he takes home £2. So he's doubled his profit margin technically. So, but really he's getting like up to £60 a week, not the 300 he thought he was getting. So the guy who bought the lemonade stand goes, all right, you know what? Say nothing. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I know you can't afford that right now. So cool. What we'll do instead, yeah, is sign up again to sell the lemonade and shit. And then I'm going to give you some more money. And again, you can use that if you want to save it up for next time, if you want to go spend it. I'm going to give you more. I got you 10,000 last time. I'm going to give you 50,000 this time. 50,000 is what you owe, so I'm going to give you 50,000 this time. Alright, shit. Cool. Because then I know I've got that 50,000, and then I can, everything I make off there, and then, alright, cool. What a person doesn't know is that they're signing against an old contract. Now it's like a contract inception, where there's a contract against a contract. So the 50,000 that you've taken is actually coming out of the original money that you owed. Meaning is that, all right, originally the budget was 100,000 and we gave you the 10% as cash. We increased your budget to 500,000. It's like credit cards and shit. It's like, it's just, once they have you, if you are not a global phenom, they have you as long as they want you. And they'll sign you to contracts that are like 5, 6, 7 years. And then they'll renegotiate with you in year 3. Let's see how you're doing. If the guy in the lemonade stand starts to go, nah, this is some bullshit, bro. You just keep signing me, got the same contract and shit. You're running up my desk. This is some bullshit. You know what they say? They say, well, you might feel that way, but you signed it. And we still have 3 years left. So I'm going to be completely honest with you here. You can do this, and I will completely step away. The cleaners and all this sort of stuff that's being paid for, which is actually coming out of their budget, which is actually coming out of the lemonade guy's budget. All of this stuff that help keep the upkeep of this, I'll withdraw it all and you can just handle it. You still owe me my bread. So really, I can take you to court at any point because you owe me this bread. But we'll let the contract run out, make the bread back, cool, say nothing. Or, because then he has to take on the responsibility of all the upkeep of the place. He has to clean it, he has to wait on the people, he has to take orders. If something's broken, he has to fix, like, all of this shit was being paid for. That's the difference with being a solo independent artist. Do you get what I mean? So it's like, you can take on all that responsibility, or you can just sign again, bro. You never know, you might change. Extend this shit for another 4 years. Will increase your budget. But it's just deeper and deeper and deeper into debt. Do you get what I mean? And once they've got you, bro, they've got you. Push comes to shove, they'll just take everything away from you, bro. They'll just call in their debt. It's like a game of Monopoly. If you've only got £100 left, bro, and I've got fucking hotels on Park Lane and you land on my shit, I can be like, alright, bro, you're out of the game, but I'm gonna let you stay in the game. But you owe me 3,500. You owe me that. So any money you get up to that amount, you owe me, and I can collect it at any time. Once he agree, once he's like, all right, cool, because I might be able to shit this up, you know what I mean? Build some hotels myself, da 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 da. But any money you get, any point in time, I'll be like, yo, remember, bro. You know what I mean? The guy, you let the guy stay in the game, he gets up to like 1,200 and shit. He's like, all right, bro, I've got a plan now. I can actually da 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 da. I could just come in and be like, yeah, I'm gonna need 600 of that. Bro, nah, you said no. I said you owe me the bread. Right now, I want 600 of it. Write it off against your cost in it. Now you owe me 2,900. A man keep doing that, and even that, he might get it down. Like you only owes him 300. It's like shit, bro. Fucking hell. All right. You know what? Yeah, I've got like bare turns have gone around. I've got 600 now. I owe you 300. Here's your 3. I'm giving you your 3 back. I don't owe you shit. Alright, cool. Say nothing. But you know what happens then? Lands on Park Lane again. Or before he even gets to that point, lands on Park Lane in the interim. And it's just the same things. Like, alright, instead of 2,900, now you owe me. What would it be? 7,400. And just that's what a music label is. You know what I mean? And it's I don't even know how I got into that whole stanza about that, but there's a certain responsibility when you take things on in it. There's a certain responsibility of doing shit, of if you're going to start something. I heard on another podcast I was listening to, they were talking about like how people get followings and stuff like that. And one of the guys said like, yo, listen, everybody starts with 0 followers. Do you know what I mean? Everybody starts at 0. And what you do from that point determines where you go. You know, so for me, it's like if me and my brethren come together and say we're going to try some shit, then let's give it a try, you know what I mean? And maybe that's a problem. I think maybe will. I don't want to assume on his behalf, but not that it's not a priority, but maybe it's not something that will become something. I don't know. It's just clearly he's not here. You know what I mean? He's not here. This wouldn't quite be the Joe Budden podcast episode when Rory and Mo weren't there. You know, when he went there, he was by himself and there was the empty chairs. This wouldn't quite be the same, but if we had a visual element, I would just have the empty space where Will usually sits, and you know what I mean. But nah, it's all good though. But yeah, I think that's the best way I can kind of, I don't want to say address it, but just sort of anyone who listens, man. Because again, we've noticed that there's people that do tune in, you know what I mean, on a regular basis and do kind of keep up, and for all of those people, it's just to kind of give y'all just a bit of a notice where this shit is going. If I'm being honest with you, I think from this point moving forward, I don't think will be back on the podcast. Again, God forbid it's for worse circumstances. God forbid. But in better circumstances, I think just it's a similar concept to when the white boy left. And my whole point was like, well, not my whole point, but in response, because I went through that on one of the pods as well, but in response to him basically saying he's not doing it anymore, it was like, rah, you know what? If you could so easily throw this away, then you never really cared in the first place. Even if you did care, you didn't really care like that, where you just say, fuck the whole thing. I'm not doing it no more. Like, just fuck it. Do you get what I mean? Through all the difficult circumstances and stuff, I'm still here. I'm fucking talking to the empty space of the internet right now. You know what I mean? Because I give a fuck. And in me giving a fuck, even through like difficult times, and times can be difficult, don't get it fucked up, but like, I'll still show up, man. I'll still show up. And again, you know, in a really weird way, I almost want it to be that Will is just dubbing man, where he's fine and there's no risk to his health or anything like that. He's fine. He's just maybe not in a space to do it, and I can just accept it for that. You know what I mean? It'll be fucked up to find out that it's something worse than that, which is why I've not been able to contact him, you know. And these are all the things you've got to keep in mind. Do you get me? I'm not one of those niggas who just come in here like, man, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? He stood like he just left man hanging, and like it's when these sort of things happen, I try to consider all of the angles, all of the potential reasons and ramifications and shit, you know? And I think maybe doing that sometimes can hold you back in life. Like trying to accomplish unimaginable things. I think when you're really smart and really rational and really logical, that can hold you back because you weigh up all of the things and it's like, bro, there's very little chance that this will actually work. And you tend to play it safe a lot. I think that's like one of my things. All of my smarts and logic and shit, I think it holds me back in certain things sometimes. And sometimes that's beneficial and sometimes it's detrimental. You know what I mean? But it's just it's just an interesting thing. It's just an interesting thing. I'm not even going to attempt to do like 4 hours with y'all. I'll be completely honest. I was thinking maybe 2. If I get to a point where it's just like, yeah, I'm done with the talking, then I'm just gonna be done. I'm just gonna be finished with it. There were some news things I did want to talk about, but at the same time, I don't really give a fuck, man. I don't. England are out of the World Cup. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know what I mean? Like, who cares, bro? Brittany Griner got released from prison. I guess it's good for her. I mean, they released someone that they call the Merchant of Death. There's like a film about this motherfucker and how evil this nigga is. This nigga killed or commissioned the killing or enabled the killing of so many African people. Like, and they let this nigga go for a WNBA player. Like, alright, that's like a League Two footballer, but getting locked up over there, and they release fucking some mad terrorist guy and sort of him. It's like, bro, for this guy, like. But I'm not saying that in a segue to her because I'm sure she's mad happy, bro. If it was me, I'm like, yeah, give them that nigga, fam. I don't give a fuck what he did, bro. Get me. I am a celebrity. Get me out of here, fam. Like, I'm not mad at her. Do you get what I mean? Like, I would definitely be like, bro, I don't care if you give them Hitler, bro. I don't care who you have to give them, bro. Giddy nigga, who you got, giddy niggas, bro, and let me out, fam. But when you look at it from like a neutral perspective, it's very like, really? But there you go with it. So big up to her. Let me see if there's anything else on my little checklist. Do I want to talk about that? Let's come back on. Yeah, even stuff like that. Like, I think the chat just cut out for some reason. Even stuff like that, it's like the stereo app it was good as an entryway. It was good as an entryway, but it's very limited in what it can do, man. It's very limited in what it can do. And I was thinking, like, you know what, maybe up to like episode 100 and shit. But when I think about it, bro, that's like fucking 17 episodes away, bro. That's like 17 weeks. I'm not doing 17 more weeks on stereo. Like, nah. End of the year, fam. 2023, no stereo, fam. Like, yeah, get that shit the fuck out of here, bro. Because, like I said, they made stereo like Clubhouse. I think stereo had a really cool niche thing where the concept was live podcasts, where it would really be like a conversation between maybe like really it started, it was you and another person. I remember like when the stereo thing first came up. In fact, hold on, because another thing I do, which I think I spoke about on one of the other solo pods I did, is like obviously for the YouTube captions and shit in it, like I have to fucking write a description of the pod. So what's the description of this pod? Oh shit. I don't know what that was, bro. Alright, cool. Oh yeah, shit, they killed that nigga. Okay, let's go through it together. Drizz is solo again for this week's pod. He addresses Will's absence and discusses the future of the podcast. He then takes a tangent into how music labels work, and then discusses stereo app. Okay, so when you read it on the YouTube, you know that I wrote that out in real time. So yeah, I remember when. How did I first come across stereo? You know what it was? On YouTube, you know, you see like ads and shit on YouTube. Like, not every ad, but maybe every third, fourth ad, I'll see this sort of thing, and it's like, if you want to record a podcast, but you live in different locations, you can use this app. I remember like when I saw it and shit when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's cool. That's a cool idea. Like, that's a cool idea, because if there's someone you want to do a pod with, but you all live in completely different places, it's like, oh shit, you can jump on this thing and like do a podcast. Like, that's cool, isn't it? So I remember I kind of saw the thing from there, and then what was it from then? For anyone who knows about, if you know, you know, I guess they say, the Filthy Fellas. They're like a UK guys, man. You've got like Tigo and Poet and Savage Dan and fucking Miles and fucking like the Filthy Fellas in it, and Specs Gonzalez, Margs, Lippy, of course. Shout out to all those guys as well. I think they fight. In fact, you know what? Air horns for the Filthy Fellas. Yeah, big up to them, man. I think it was Specs and Miles. Like, there was just like a YouTube video of them talking on stereo, and I saw it, and it's like there was like bare people listening to them and shit, and they would just talk, just like cracking jokes and shit on each other and that. And I remember thinking like, oh shit, that's that thing that I keep seeing in the ad, bro. It's like, oh shit, man, are using this stereo thing. Alright, you know what? Fuck it, cool. Because the way we had originally planned it was just because like me and Will, even me, Will, like when the white boy was around, like say we on like breaks in the day and shit, we would just talk on the phone and just chat about shit, you know what I mean? And the original idea was to do it over the phone, because he lives in like a different part of the country than I do. Do it over the phone and then just record it, and then just, you know, put it together, put it out, sort of thing. But then I'd introduced this thing. I was like, yo, man, there's this app where we could do it on this app in it. Like, the app is built around the problem that we're having, which is the local vicinity and shit. So like, yeah, bet, cool. And like I said, early doors, the algorithm would really let people come and find your shit. Do you know what I mean, bro? There were some episodes we'd have like almost like a total of like 100 people listening to the shit. You can go back on the podcast list and see like the total people that tuned in and shit. Like on some of them, all right, 100 might be gas, maybe like 50. See, I guessed it. Like, no, but like a fair amount of people would like tune in and shit. Like people would come back week to week and listen. Like it would allow the audio broadcast you're doing to go through the algorithm, the stereo. I think around the time that Clubhouse first started coming up and shit, I think they saw that and catered the app towards those sort of things. Because again, in the beginning, it was literally you and another person on a thing. Like I don't think you could have more than 2, maybe 3, but I don't think you could have more than 2 people on like one conversation. You know what I mean? And you know what you couldn't do either, like what I'm doing now, a solo mode. Because I remember there'll be so many times you have to go on the app, and the whole thing was it would just find random people, and then you just talk to them. And if the person wants to talk to you, you can talk, and if they don't, then they don't. Do you get what I mean? But it's like a random thing, and then yeah, in the interim of it trying to find you somebody, obviously the thing would be on, so you'd just be recording your voice and shit. And I remember I used to always say, like, bro, they need to introduce a solo mode. They need to introduce a mode where I can just go on there and talk and people can hear it. Do you get what I mean? They eventually did that. And then with that, they started adding the ability to have like 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and how many people like on one thing, and everyone can just talk. And again, I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back in hindsight, it's like, yeah, they saw the Clubhouse model and said, we need to integrate that into what we're doing. And I get it from a business perspective, but it's a shame because the niche, if they had tailored their niche towards like, actual remote podcast and what is a podcast and why do people listen to them, like, it would have been a much more difficult road, but the cash out at the end would have been really dank. Do you get what I mean? Like, someone like Spotify would end up buying them if they made something like that. Like that's really the new move, fam. That's what I need to do, bro. That's the new move, bro. You build an app where people can have remote podcasts, but actually do it so it caters to that shit. So it's not just a mobile app. People can have it on their laptop. They can download like a software for it, record it on that. Like, that's the shit, bro. Do you get what I mean? And not a Clubhouse thing where you can have bare people just chatting in a room, but like an actual people have conversations and that. You know what I mean? And yeah, I never one of those people who's like super duper duper into like social media and shit. And what you realize about a lot of this social media stuff, it becomes like a day job. Like, to have popped on stereo around that time, because we were in the algorithm enough to pop, but to really pop, you'd have to be on this shit every day for like hours. And there was a period I experimented with it where I would just go on, I would just talk to people, and like you would see the shit like, okay, I can see how it's building. But it's one of those things like, so you realize all this social media shit is for kids, in the sense of it's because kids have the time to do it without the responsibility. Because it's just something you would need to be on for hours and hours and hours. And if you did that, you would build a real following. Do you know what I mean? You would build a real following. A part of me wants to add a co-host on here, but then, nah, I'm not going to do that. I would rather end the podcast and then just maybe go explore it. Because I do remember that, and it was quite like an interesting thing when you would just bump into people and just kind of begin conversations and just where them conversations would go and shit. Like, it's quite interesting. But because obviously, again, I'm using this to fucking record a broadcast that'll then be listened to from this point onwards. So even some of the fucking references when I'm saying, oh, this person's listening right now and that person, like, if you're listening back on YouTube, well, I better go, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But what I realize is like people don't really care about any of those other things. If they like what you saying and shit, then they gonna rock with it and vibe with it. So yeah. Um, there is something I did write down, which again I would have liked Will's input so much on this, but it's kind of about like language and words and letters and how they apply to different things and why. And I, that's one of those ones I'll probably, maybe from the next pod, I'm going to come in like energized and that'll be the topic. Do you get what I mean? Because I'm going to need like my, you know how you have the energy at the start of the pod? Like I'm going to need the energy to really get into that one. So I'm going to leave that for now. I just spoke about Brittany Griner. Yeah, I'll talk about this. So the FIFA World Cup is happening in Qatar right now, 2022. And there was, so I was going to sing a song in it, and there was a journalist. No, there was a journalist who wore like a pride shirt and basically like got turned away. And there was a whole thing about like people going over there trying to wear the pride stuff because Qatar is in the Middle East and over there they don't fuck with that shit in it. Like they're unapologetically like, nah, we don't rock with none of that gay shit, fam. Like, not a bit of it though. Astaghfirullah. Like, not, yeah. They don't, there's no PC-ness about it. There's no like, it's like, nah, we don't rock with none of that homo shit. Do you get what I mean? And obviously the World Cup's happening over there because they got bread. Do you get what I mean? And so the privilege of white people, they want to be able to go over there and do their thing. These are the same people who, like, when people not from their country come to their country, they like, oh, look at these people who don't respect our customs and who don't respect our shit, but they want to go over to the people them place. And anyway, because this ain't about that, I'm just saying that there was a journalist and he had, I don't know this nigga name, and I'm not even trying to disrespect the man because he actually died. Like, he was wearing, he looked like he was bald in it, like kind of middle aged, like mid-30s, mid-40s maybe. And he had like a black tee on it, had like a rainbow sort of thing on the front, and he was wearing like a Peaky Blinders hat. And he did like a video on social media just basically saying he got turned away from the stadium for wearing his pride shirt, and it's, you know, terrible how they treat this thing out here and all that sort of stuff. But he ended up getting arrested, and like, well, I think he got arrested, but yeah, he was detained, innit? Like, he was detained for wearing it. Because, again, out there, they don't fuck with it, bro. And he died, bro. Like, I don't know anything more about the story, but it's just like, oh, shit. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, they really don't play that shit out there, man. They really don't play that shit out there. And in a very fucked up way, is an important lesson to say, when you go into another country, be very clear about their laws, fam. Even back to the Brittany Griner shit. And someone made the point, it's like, well, she plays in Russia a lot and she probably goes over there all the time and she probably had a weeping in a bag bare times and shit. It's like, yeah, that's true. And they probably allow her, but there's like this supposed war going on and now it's all political and now you've given them an excuse. You'll be like, well, no, we might have allowed you the last 9 times, but this is actually against the law. And we can do this legally. And it's like when you go into these places, man, just be very astute about how you move around, fam. Bro, some of the Middle Eastern places, bro, you can't kiss your gal in public. Let alone you talking about gay and trans and all these other things, bro. Like, you can't even kiss your gal in public, blood. Did you get me? Like, they're like, we don't play that over here. All of that sexy in public, like, bro, anything kind of like that, we don't fucking rock with it. In fact, any bitch out here got to cover her head with something, bro. Cover your head with something, bro, because we don't look at bitches' hair out here, from fuck that, bro. We got all the bread, you know what I mean? So it's just like, however this guy passed away, like, obviously it's mad in it, but no matter how you might feel about some certain shit, bro, when you go into someone else's country, bro, you you in they shit. It's a similar point that can be made about any black person in the westernized world to some degree, to a modern history degree, where it's like, yo, if you in they shit, bro, you in they shit. If you go back to further history, it's like, well, actually, all of this shit was our shit. Like, they not actually from here, they from somewhere else. That's why they look like that and we look like this. Like this, I hate the people that pretend that like black people or white people aren't different. Because my thing is like, well, we clearly are different, bro. Because if we weren't different, we'd be the same, but we're not. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? There's good and bad about both. Do you get what I mean? Could I make an argument there's a lot more bad about one? I think so. Whichever one that would be, I'll leave that up to your imagination. Do you get what I mean? But it's like, it's so mad the people that pretend that, oh, I don't even see color. I don't even... How do you not see color, bro? How do you not see that I don't look like you, my nigga? Do you get what I mean? Like, because I don't look like you, or act like you, or talk like you, or walk like you, or think like you, or speak like you, or... Do you get what I mean? Here's a really cool thing. Whenever black people are left alone, where a place is predominantly black or brown, they will usually create their own language. What I mean by that is Jamaica, the island, for example. The whole island obviously was colonized. It was used for like slavery, plantation, stuff like that. But the populace of the place is majority like black. You know what I mean? And obviously they were robbed of their native language and given the English language, but then without the overbearing influence of white English people, they took this language that they had and created a new language out of it, which is patois. My girl's from India. No, my girl's not from India. My girl is of Indian heritage. Her mum's actually from Africa, and her dad is from India. And sometimes we'll see videos online, or sometimes you'll hear like my mum talking and shit. And she legit is like, I didn't understand that. But the thing I always say is like, patois, it's like English in it, but it's not, bro. It's like a derivative of English, but it's not English. It's a completely different thing. It's like, black people, their natural DNA manifested onto a language and they created a new language out of it. Do you get what I mean? And that goes for all the like Caribbean islands or any place where it's English, but it's not really English, bro. Like patois is not English. And the phrase patois itself is a French word. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, it's mad in it. Like, so, yo, anyone who, if you speak English and that, just go like onto YouTube or something and just type in like Rasta speaking patois. Patois. I believe that's how it's spelled. And just like listen to that shit. Because a lot of people, especially if you're not from Jamaica or the islands, a lot of people hear that shit. They're like, bro, I don't have a clue what he's saying, fam, or what she's saying, fam. I don't have it. But my thing is like, but all the words they said were English words. Do you get what I mean? But it's a different thing. So I had some like some language shit. Obviously the journalist as well, that was big. I don't know how I went from speaking about a gay journalist in Jamaica, particularly with Jamaica's history with the gay community and shit. So that's a mad thing. What else I want to talk about? Speaking of Jamaica, segue. Yeah, we'll do that. Speaking of Jamaica, the Jamaican artist Sizzler, who's a legend, by the way. Who is an absolute legend, has done like a lot of work with DJ Khaled in the past couple of years. You know, Khaled's album, stuff like that. Recently there was a video that. Sorry, hold on, I'm distracted. I'm distracted by some. You know what I need to do? I need to make some hold music. That's what I need to do. I used the hold music before, but it flagged on YouTube. But Sizzler basically received a plaque. It was like a DJ Khaled album plaque in it. And you basically just fucked it up, kicked the shit out of it, mashed it up, And the excuse that was given, to my knowledge, I didn't really read into this further, but it was Sizzler basically said that you could barely see his name on the plaque. Like, all the work is done for Khaled, all the, you know what I mean, all the shit I've done for man. I gave man the whole Jamaican vibe and energy. Like, I gave man all this shit that helped his shit fly. And my name is in tiny little writing, like at the bottom or something. What I did find interesting about it was that when he was fucking up the plaque, he took the pictures of DJ Khaled's son. What's his kid's name? Oh, fuck, what's his kid's name? No, Adonis is Drake's son. This isn't even like worth me researching, but because I've said it, I want to find out now. Internet taking bare time. What was the kid name? Assad. Wait. Yeah, Assad. Assad, isn't it? Why is the internet doing this, bro? Just tell me what the guy's son's name is. Assad, yeah. He's got two sons. Fucking, I didn't even know that. Oh, hold on, we got a voice note. Hold on.
Assad. I think his name is Assad.
Yeah, nah, I just seen it now. Assad. But now, the reason I bring that up, I find it interesting how when Sizzler was mashing up the plaque that he received, kicking the shit out of it, he took the pictures of Assad out and like stuck them on the wall and put them like up high, almost on some like Rasta thing where he was like, yo, I'm not fucking with the you in it. Like, I'm not gonna kick the shit out of the you, but I'm gonna kick the shit out of Khaled. I just found it funny how in the midst of him kicking the shit out of this plaque, he was very careful to take the pictures of Assad out. Like, he cut them out and took them away so he wasn't kicking the kid. It was like, oh, bless your heart, Sizzler. But yeah, apparently it was just because he said his name was too small on the plaque after all the work he did. And to be fair, there might be a deeper thing to it. Like I said, I didn't really look it up. It's just, you know, your timeline, you're just like looking at shit. It's like, oh, Sizzler's kicking the shit out of a DJ Khaled plaque. It's like we so desensitized these days, and it's like nothing even really matters anymore, bro. It's just like, oh, Sizzler's kicking the shit out of a DJ Khaled plaque. Like, oh, all right, cool. What else happened? Like, once upon a time, bro, this was like 2013, 2014 when that happened, bro, that would be fucking worldwide news from. You see that shit on fucking BBC News and fucking CNN and bullshit like that. Like, and the Jamaican reggae artist known as Sizzler was seen fully assaulting the plaque that he was sent by the recording industry after the DJ Khaled album. Like, they would do the whole thing. You know what I mean? But now it's just like, oh, it's just some shit that happened. My nigga, R. Kelly, who's on RICO charges, who's on fucking human trafficking charges and pedophilia charges, bro, released an album from jail like he vibes cartel, my nigga. He child cartel, bro. You know what I mean? That nigga child cartel, bro. Do you get what I mean? What the fuck? He released an album and then they took it down. But nobody cares. like nobody gives a fuck. R. Kelly, who was celebrated for fucking years and all this sort of shit, bro. Like, no one. After they care, no one cares. People just enjoy. All right, before I carry on, let me say this is not like a defending R. Kelly section. Like, this is, I'm not standing by R. Kelly. Fuck that nigga. put him under the jailhouse, like keep him. We don't want that nigga back. That nigga nasty. That nigga disgusting. Like, this is not a defend R. Kelly thing. Let me make that very clear. But it's like, obviously, after the Surviving R. Kelly documentary came out, and, you know what I mean, all of this shit, because if people remember, and people won't remember, but if you do, the whole recent thing of R. Kelly going through all this shit was sparked by Vince Staples. Vince Staples is the reason that R. Kelly is in jail today. He was being interviewed by Nadeska, who worked for Complex. I think she's at Beats by, or Apple Beats. She works for Apple now, or I think Apple Music or whatever. But Nadeska was working for Complex, and there must have been a Complex con or something. And she asked him some question about R. Kelly. You know what? I'm gonna actually see if I can find it. She asked him something about R. Kelly, and he was like, yo, fuck R. Kelly. R. Kelly's nasty. He's been molesting little girls for years, and you niggas have just like he went off Nadeska Vince. I'll see. It's a YouTube search. Hold on. Turn down any ads. We don't want no ads. You know what I mean? Don't want no ads. Skip that. Come on, bro. Play, fam. Hold on. Because the fucking YouTube is turned down, isn't it? Alright, turn the YouTube up. Turn that down. Let it play.
My last year probation is over.
Oh, it's gonna freeze up, innit? Alright. Hold on.
You don't go to prison if you're black inter.
Okay. No. Just stick with me, folks. We gonna figure this out. I don't care, bro. I don't care. I'm hosting this by myself, my G. There's no co-host to fucking hold the fort down while I try and find this clip. There's no nigga I'm like, well, you talk about something for 5 minutes while I try and sort this out. Do you get what I mean? Like, there's a professional back and forth, especially minus the visual element, where it's like, Will might say, if he's like, all right, Drizz is in a moment right now, let him run. He might, all right, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go think.
What you're gonna get from a Vince Staples interview.
Hold on.
I got one more year on probation. My last year probation is over. I'm breaking speed limits. I'm doing wild shit. Windows up with
Vince, we need you here. Can you stay out of prison, please?
You don't go to prison if you're a black entertainer. Only if you like a black gangster rapper. I'm switching my whole path. See? He knows what it is. Think about it.
I'm still waiting for you to just branch into comedy.
R. Kelly never went to jail. He's a child molester.
Let's never talk about R.
He's a child molester.
We can't ever talk about this guy.
Saying he's a child molester and he pees on people and he can't read and write and he didn't go to jail.
You get what I mean? But like, that happened. He said that. And then for some reason, that just sparked a thing where people were like, wait a minute. R. Kelly is a child molester. Because we have to remember, the early 2000s, the 90s, wild time, bro. Wild time. You smell me? And the shit that he said, it's not no new shit about R. Kelly. These are things that people knew. But I heard somebody say this about cancel culture and just youth culture and just how sensitive everybody is. People always cuss like, well, everyone's so sensitive and everyone's so thick. And they are. But what we're seeing is an overcorrection in the sense of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and even before the 60s, where men used to just hit their wife as just part of their everyday life, bro. It's like, oh, I just slapped my bitch in the face in public, bro. It's like normal. Like, it was wild, innit? But throughout history, there has been a complicit ignorance to a lot of fuck shit that's happened. And R. Kelly, his whole thing had been going on for years. He'd been to court about it. He beat the cases, all sorts of shit. But all throughout it, it was like, bro, like a sex tape came out of him urinating on an underage girl, bro. But at the time, because I was like a youth them times there, at the time, that wasn't viewed like, oh my god, this is child pornography. It was like, oh shit, R. Kelly's sex tape. Like, people were watching it. People were watching this video. Like, it was in pop culture. Like, they talked about it on like the Tonight shows and shit. Like, it was, do you get what I mean? Like, there was a lot more of a willing ignorance to a lot of this sort of shit. And a lot of this kind of got swept under the carpet as society started to turn towards like the well, not turn towards, but celebrity culture and all that sort of shit, like the constant news cycle shit. It just kind of went away for a lot of years, and he just kind of continued doing his thing, continued molesting, continued doing fuck shit. And Vince spoke about it then. And again, Complex is for like it's for the kids and it's for the young people and shit. So you got like these probably 27 between like, you can't even put like a bottom age in it, but between maybe like 10, 11 to 27, bro, age people looking at this shit. Who, my nigga, if you were born in 2000, you were 22-year-old today, if you were alive. In the year 2000, bro. If you were born in 2002, you're 20, dog. If you were born in 2004, even 2005, you're 18. That's mad to me. I started high school in 2008. If you were born in 2005, you would have been 3 when I started high school. Finished high school. Not even started, finished high school. Do you get what I mean? It's like, that was such a long time ago. And we used to always hear our parents talk about like, oh, back in the day shit. And that just seemed like some old people shit. But when I think about it, it's like, fucking hell, like, I remember being a youth and you would hear these like weird things about R. Kelly, but people just laughed about it. Like I said, it was like a funny thing in culture. It was like a funny thing in society. It was like, oh, R. Kelly. Bro, Dave Chappelle did a skit about it on the fucking Dave Chappelle show. He did like a whole skit about it, bro. About peeing on girls and shit. Like, it was a punchline. Whereas in 2022, it's like, oh shit, bro, that's child pornography, bro. Like, do you get what I mean? It's like, we're in a time now where there's such an extreme understanding of the wrong that was done in a lot of ways to a lot of different demographics. And there's like a huge overcorrection that's happening. But that's the thing about people. Like, we either operate in complete mundanity, like the mundane, the complete middle grey, or we operate at extremes. It's very rare we operate within the spaces between. Do you get what I mean? And it's like, where once upon a time society was so chauvinistic and misogynistic and bigoted that R. Kelly urinating on an underage girl and videoing it and that being shown around the world was like a funny punchline, to now where if somebody is transitioning and you identify them by the wrong pronoun, that's like a really serious thing now. Once upon a time, like, you used to throw the F-bomb around like nothing. Rhymes with maggots. You used to throw it around like nothing. You just throw it around for the joke of it. The way that you see people throw around the word nigger today. And it's mad because, again, another thing with the stereo app, I can say nigger till I'm blue in the face. Nigger, 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 nigger. But if I drop that F-bomb, or I talk about the big COVID, this connection is going to start to get janky. Interesting how that works, isn't it? But yeah, it's just it's definitely an overcorrection. I understand it, but the overcorrection is poisonous within itself, and we're seeing the effects of that. You know what I mean? That even ties into like what I was saying about the Britney Griner thing before. How, what's the term? It's basically when you take like the moral upper ground or the moral high ground, or like where so virtue signaling. That's the term. It's like society is so curved by virtue signaling now, especially in the Western world, because obviously the alphabet mafia are what they are, and they have the place in society that they have, and that's something that can't be mocked or ridiculed. And they've already asserted themselves, like, we went through what black people went through. This gets into a whole conversation about Jews and Jewish, but we're not going to do that today. We'll save all the Ye takes for another time, innit? Yo, the rate that Ye is going, bro. He gonna interview on this pod next, bro. Listen, we lost Will and the White Boy, fam, but we got Ye on the next thing. Blood, the way that nigga going right now, fam, he gonna be on stereo kicking up a storm. I tell you what, though. Ye jump on stereo, fam. Stereo goes through the roof. I did check. Stereo aren't publicly traded. I think they're a subsidiary of something. I'm not quite sure because I haven't been able to get in contact with anybody that, works there. But I think Stereo is a subsidiary of a shell company, potentially. But yeah, Ye jump on their shit, bro. Change that whole thing up, fam. Because you're going to get an influx of people that will sign up for the account and get on there just to hear the shit that Ye said. Yeah, to be fair, Ye could probably crash Stereo. I believe that. Ye could probably crash Stereo app where their servers shut down. Ye create a Stereo account, make his little avatar and shit. And you know how it says that you sign up, you've got to put like your verified shit in there. And you put it, and because Ye, he'll go on there, he'll screenshot it all. I'm like, I'm setting up the Stereo account. He said I need to put my verified Twitter, my verified Instagram. Like I'm Ye in it, I'm verified. Do you get what I mean? You put all this shit on there, bro. And because no one's really monitoring the Stereo thing, the cancel thing wouldn't have gone out to them yet. So they'd be like, oh yeah, cool. Like, yeah, the system picks up that you're verified, cool, run it, innit? And you'd be like, yo, listen, Stereo app tonight. Or he tweet it when he's on there and tweet the link. Everyone sign up for Stereo. I'm going there right now. I'm talking, bro. Like, Stereo would go down. Stereo would get flooded, bro. Yeah, Ye could definitely crash Stereo. I believe that. I don't think Stereo's server is ready for 14 million people to sign up for an account at one time. Something tells me that Stereo server is not quite ready for that. My nigga, this shit cut out sometimes when I go into a different app. Something tells me it's not built for that, but like, fuck, This nigga crashed Instagram and Twitter, bro. Yeah. He should try align himself with Facebook somehow. You see, in all of this shit, I do truly believe that Ye is going to come out victorious. And I know some people will say, oh, that's just a naive standpoint. That's just, oh, you're just a Ye stand, da-da-da-da-da. Potentially. As me and my girl say to each other, possibly. But I say it because we have seen Ye do this throughout the years of his career. It seems childish now. It seems so silly now. But if anyone was around for the MTV Awards, if you was of a cognizant age where you could deep what was happening, and Taylor Swift was supposed to win like the best video or something, she was supposed to win something, and that was like her crowning ceremony. Because back them times, that's how the industry did it, innit? Like they would, you the young fresh face, they give you some hits and stuff, you know what I mean? They pay all their money to the award shows, and the award show would be like your coming out ceremony, like you've arrived, like she's the new one type of thing. And this nigga, yeah, drunk off the Henny, fam. And shout out to you being drunk off the Henny, fam. Shout out to you being drunk off the Henny, you know what I mean? But you went on the stage and said, yo, Taylor, I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had the best video of all time and did the famous Kanye shrug, bro. There's an emoji right now that's that shrug that Ye did, fam. Because he, like, that's when meme culture and shit came in, do you know what I mean? But it's like, I remember when that happened, bro, and that was fucking all over the news, blood. It was everywhere, fam. BBC, CNN, High TV, fucking ABC, all the social medias, fucking all the entertainment shit, all of the shit was, look what Ye did. Because again, especially the entertainment business is a bastardized, hyperbolic version of how media works in the world. Meaning, the entertainment media is like world media on steroids, if that makes sense. Like you just see like the most ignorant version of it type of shit, where they'll just like post a bitch nudes, or they'll like whatever the fuck, like. And even now, once upon a time, your nudes get posted, fam. That was like complete humiliation. Now bitches be leaking their nudes and shit on it. Bro, it's just times not only have changed, but are continuing to change. And what did Suge Knight say? You either get down or lay down, fam. Like, you either get down or lay down. Like, it's just one of those things where I think it's important to always have dialogue. I think it's important to always have conversation, hold conversation, hear other perspectives. Even if you don't agree, just like listen and try to make it make sense. If there's something that's fundamentally flawed in it, then yeah, you can challenge that. And that usually allows you to see where somebody lies, because there are some people who believe certain things because they just choose to willingly and ignorantly believe dumb shit. So if you try and introduce logic, they just going to be loud and aggressive, because fuck that. Because what you're saying makes too much sense, so I'm just going to derail it by doing this. And then you have other people who believe things because that's what they've been taught is the right thing. But then when introduced to new information, new education, they're able to challenge their preconceived notions and be like, oh shit, you know what? Like, actually, again, my girl got me watching this. There's a thing on Netflix with Meghan Markle and Harry. I don't even know if he's still Prince Harry or not, but they've done a thing on there. And, you know, several times in the thing, Harry will be talking and he'll be saying, oh, you know, like, I didn't even realize like the white privilege that I was raised with. You know, I did certain things I wasn't even aware of. And then, you know, I speak to Meghan and, you know, she would point certain things out and it's like, oh shit. And it's like, his whole thing was like, I was introduced to new information and it made me challenge how I looked at things, because I always believed I was looking at things from a right place. So if you introduce something that's more right, I'm going to look to do that because I want to be right and be good. And what's so mad about the whole like the Meghan Markle, Harry, royal family, like all that sort of shit. You know what's so mad about that? Is they treat Meghan Markle like she Dr. Umar Johnson. Like on a real, like they deal with her like she like that, bro. Like 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 she is, and I mean this with all due respect. Listen, I put Meghan Markle in a bar, fam. Like, it's no disrespect on this side. You get me? Like, no, we fuck with Meghan Markle and we fuck with Harry. But she is the fairest that somebody that you want to call a black person can be. You can't be any fairer or lighter skinned than Meghan Markle, bro. Meghan Markle is a white woman, except for the fact that she a nigga. Like, that's how fucked up racism is, bro. Like, my nigga, bro, they treating that shit like it's Jewish, bro. Like, if your mom Jewish, you Jewish. It's like that's the direct thing in it. But it's like she's so light skinned, bro. And their thing is like, you black because your mom's is a nigga, fam. Your mom's is black, so you black. That's how that shit work. It don't matter how light skinned you is, you black in it. We can see it. Because no matter what we try and do, that black gene will always dominate, fam. It don't matter how light skinned you is, fam, you black. Do you get what I mean? And it's like, they literally treat her like she Dr. Umar Johnson. And she is so far removed from quote unquote black culture. And I don't mean that in a fucked up way. But like, that's not her world. She was an actress. She was in like the whole Hollywood shit. And she wasn't on like black Hollywood, but like, she ain't in no Tyler Perry movies. Do you get what I mean? Like, she in Suits and in them sort of things. I mean, shit, she did do a film with Skepta. Like, shout out to that. Like, her and Skepta were in a film together. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, just the amount of targeting that she's received, which has a racial undertone or component to it, is mad, because she's so far removed from what you would call quote unquote black. But she black because she black. Your mums is a nigga, fam. You black. We don't give a fuck what you look like. Meghan Markle could have dyed her hair blonde. You is black, bitch. Because they can always tell, bro. Because, fam, look at they women, fam. Look at they women. And I'm saying this is a nigga who has fucked plenty of white women. Like, I'm not even going to air horn that because there's nothing to be proud of. But, like, I've knocked down a couple white things in it. So, do you get what I mean? But, alright, not even to make it crude, yeah. Not even to make it crude. But if you look at, like, adult videos, right? Because I think certain words get you flagged as well. If you look at adult videos and you, over the course of watching it, just watch nothing but black women, their different shapes, sizes, you know, their body structure, stuff like that, and then go and look at a white woman in an adult video, you'll be like, what the fuck are they, bro? They're like some weird engineered thing of what a woman's supposed to look like, because a black woman just looks like what a woman's supposed to look like. And so then when you look at the white gal, it's like, wait, what is they, fam? The new word I have for white gal is chicken body, fam. Because you watch some of these adult videos, bro, and like, and they backs and stuff. That's what it looked like. It looked like chicken. You know when you cut up chicken and shit, like you get chicken from the supermarket. It looked like chicken, bro. It got flesh and shit on it, but it just pale and pink, fam. Like, chicken body, innit? Like, and then you look at the black woman and just the curves and the juiciness on their body and shit. And you look at the white thing, it's like, yo, look at this little chicken body girl, fam. Like, yeah, it's mad, innit? It's mad, innit? But like, again, I can't remember the point that I was Oh, I can't remember the point that I was making. I know there was a point, but nah, to be fair, I did say I was going to go maybe like 2 hours. Got 15 left. You know what? If it was like a bunch of people waiting, yeah, like a bunch of people listening, I was like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna go and talk to some of you lot for the next the. I'd be like, cool, but it's just the whole thing of it puts you in like a queue, and then you got to wait to talk to somebody, and then you talk to them, and then they might like, hello, hear me, or some fucked up sound happening, and then you got, do you know what I mean? It can just fuck up the rhythm, man. I'm getting this feeling on my tooth right now. It feels like, I don't know if you ever had it, but like, you know, like a drawstring on like a hoodie or something. When it rubs against your tooth, it makes like that kind of squeaky sort of sound. I have that feeling in my tooth, and it's annoying. But no, man. This has been cathartic. I definitely feel like I've talked in circles at certain bits, but you know, the pods definitely might start getting shorter, just in the journey, the process, the interim of just all this sort of shit, man. Like, again, one thing that I appreciate about my guy Will is like, bro, we were doing like 4 hours of this pod and shit like weekly, fam. You know what I mean? And it's not easy to do. Like, your favorite podcast might be like an hour, 2 hours. Do you get what I mean? You know, so the fact that we was going that long format and speaking and talking the whole time, and sometimes it might get a bit like, yeah, but you know what I mean? It was just, I did, and I do, and I always will really appreciate that about Will. Just on a personal tip, man, just the real life situations I've been in with Will, the character of the man that I've seen him be, you know what I mean? The things that I've seen him stand up for and take a stand for, you know, he's always willing to stand up for and stand with his people, even to a fault sometimes. And yeah, man, that has to be commended, you know what I mean? So it's never a thing where there's any issue between me and Will. I want to make that very clear. Obviously, I crack jokes and shit, you know what I mean? I'll crack jokes and that, but nah, it's not the same as the white boy, where he just has internal issues that he's taking out on the world. This is not that, you know what I mean? Again, my personal assumption is that Will is just going through a period right now where, you know what I mean, he doesn't really want to be contactable. I also have another superstition that he's broken, lost, or damaged his phone. Again, your mind wanders and thinks potentially there could be something else, which is why he can't be contacted. You know, who knows? But obviously, we keep all your people in your prayers and stuff. You gotta, you know what I mean, make sure that we try to just look out for each other, you know, especially around these sort of times, when these Christmas times. It's difficult for people around this sort of time, you know. And if you got somebody in your life you care about, even someone in your life you might have strife with, whatever, it's if there's a time to try to reach out to make things better, now is a good time to do that. One, because tomorrow is never promised, but two, it's that season, it's that time of year, innit? Like, people are reflective, and or at least they were once upon a time. I don't even know what people is on now. There's probably bitches turning up somewhere like every night until the new year, and then into the new year, innit? But nah, like, you have to try to look out for your people. You have to try to
ensure that you give as much love as you can to the people that you care about while they're here and while you're here. Because you never know when you're going to get a phone call that's like, yo, duh. Or when one of your loved ones has to get a phone call saying, yo, duh. Or hear about it, however they, you know what I mean? It's a mad one. So yeah, man, just people just take care in these winter times, man. In the UK, I saw a tweet. Someone said, like, this is the winter that Ned Stark was talking about. Like, that's so accurate. I was like, that's such a great tweet. But yeah, man, it's cold as fish titties, man. Like, it's chapping outside. Very cold. It snowed like... One sec. It snowed like maybe 4 or 5 days ago in Wolves. It's not snowed since, and there's still snow on the ground that's turning to ice. Like, the snow came down and it's just frozen now. It's just been so cold, fam. Like, do you know what I mean? Even in the daytime, the sun's out. Like, it's blue skies and just fucking chapping as shit. You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? Everyone just stay safe, you know what I mean? Just hug your people in it, love your people in it, reach out to your people them in it. You know what I mean? Any dumb small beef, it's not worth it. I mean, I'll be honest with you, for the people it's upward. Like, for myself, if it's upward you, it's your fault. Like I'm gonna keep it 10,000. Like, if I'm at the point where I'm like, yo, it's upward you, dog, it's upward you, then you brought that on yourself, and that's just what it's going to continue to be. I would only separate myself from you for a reason. Do you get what I mean? So, you know what I mean? It's up for the niggas, it's up for them bitch ass, fuck ass niggas, you know what I mean? But all the other shit, man, you can squash that, you know? Oh god. There's like just under 8 minutes, like 7 minutes something. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this around 2 minutes. I'm gonna wrap this soon. What I'm gonna see, this is where the whole music would come in great, innit? Alright. I can't play no whole music. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. My ting. All right, we back with the OnlyMans podcast, episode 83. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we're going to be wrapping the show, so I got a mental suite to be lisping me the fuck out of it. Sound like Sylvester the Cat in its Southern Succotash, you get me? Are there any final things I want to kind of leave you guys with? Yeah, like I said, sort of towards the beginning of the pod, I don't believe that the podcast will continue in the format that it has been since the blackification, which I think was like episode 61 or 62. The reason for that isn't fully clear yet, but I kind of feel that either way the reasoning goes, Will probably won't be a part of the podcast anymore. I think for myself, it's very important to not put myself in a position where I can resent my friends. And I'm the type of person, especially where there's no big money or anything at stake, it's like, I would rather us not do this together than I grow to resent you. And so again, God willing, he's good, he's all right, at least physically and not in harm's way. And that's a conversation we can have. If there's anything further than that, then that has to be dealt with. But we want to send all the love and all the light to my guy Will. Will, I love you, bro. I've always loved you, my guy. You know what I mean? I have to say no homo or pause or nothing, but like real shit, you my guy, you my brother. Like, we've been through like real shit together. We've, been in really fucked up situations and really great situations as well. And I just want to let you know that I appreciate you. This weirdly kind of feels like a eulogy. Like, and again, I don't want to entertain thoughts like that, but I guess maybe for the sake of the pod, I want to thank Will for his contribution, for his time, his energy, his effort. I want to thank Will for the jokes he's brought, the serious shit he's brought, the times he's gone on tangents and rants, and his legendary Kardashian rant from like that shit is in the bleachers, you know what I mean? Like that shit is legendary shit, and whatever kind of happens with the podcast moving forward, this might be the very last podcast of this shit, and fucking years in the future, someone on the internet discovered this shit, and it's like, oh shit, bro, like, who knows? But wherever it goes, I just want it to be recorded on a public platform. I want it to be heard that Wilbert Sinzara is my brother. Wilbert Sinzara is my friend. Wilbert Sinzara is my kinfolk, and I rock with my guy from like, I love you, bro. I love you, bro. And I hope you good, man. It's shit that I can't get in contact with you. And I'm hoping to get in contact with you soon. And then I can cuss you out in it. Like, I'll cuss you out once I can hear you, you know what I mean? But I certainly hope to definitely hear from you again, one way or another, you know what I mean? But yeah, I ain't got long left. So as I said, there's really 2 weeks left of the podcast on the Stereo app. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube page. Literally, if you're on the Stereo app right now, it's the link above my little icon thing. If not, you're probably listening to this on YouTube, and all you got to do is just hit subscribe, you know what I mean? Type in OnlyMans. It's like OnlyFans, but it's an M for mother instead of F fans. Do you get what I mean? OnlyMans podcast, and the shit will come right up from, you know what I mean? So yeah, man. Big up to everybody that tunes in. Big up. It was SMK Bigger, I think his name was, like, for even leaving a voice note and shit before even just listening to a nigga ramble and rant and shit like that. I think for myself, I'm definitely going to get into more of a long form type of thing, because 2 hours feels good, but I would like to really come and talk about some shit. And when I'm like passionate and heated about something, I can do that. Like, I do that in my crib all the time. I'll be walking around the yard and I'll be having like full blown conversations, arguments, podcasts, like with myself. And it's like, fuck, man, like, this is the shit I need to record. But then when I try to record it, it's not the same, you know what I mean? So we're going to figure the shit out, you know what I mean? We're going to figure the shit out. But shit, man, yeah, this is episode 83. 83 weeks of this bitch, you know what I mean? That's like a year and a bit, isn't it? It's like a year and a bit. Yeah, for real. The white boy tried to kill it, like, last year. Didn't work. It almost feels like Will is willing to let it die. But we still here, man. You know what I mean? We still here. We still here. I want to get to the 2 hour mark, man. Fuck that, bro. 30 seconds, fam. Let me talk my shit on the outro, man. Let me talk. Oh, you know what? If it wouldn't flag on YouTube, fam, I would pull up an instrumental and I would just talk some shit on the outro right now, fam. But it'll flag on YouTube. But I'll say this, man. love and light to all those that hear this. You know what I mean? Big up to you for listening all this way through. Do you know what I mean? If you fuck with it, again, subscribe to the shit, comment on the shit, share the shit. You know what I mean? And yeah, we're going to keep it pushing. One way or another. One way or a fucking other, man. But this has been episode 83 of the OnlyMans podcast. I appreciate your time. And until next time we speak. As we always exit out, man, I want to tell you a lot, man. Big love. Look after yourself. Stay safe. Stay dangerous. And peace.